Hey, bitch. You know, guys, real shit, just real talk, okay? First of all, if you haven't seen my last video, it was done on why barrel racing is abusive. That video, oh my god, thank you so much for all the love and support on it. And, you know, thank you for all the love and support on it by barrel racers, because the overwhelming majority of comments were barrel racers that were saying, I'm so glad you made this video. Thank you so much for calling this out, which I really was not expecting. You know, I feel like as I get older, I appreciate Rick Gore more and more and more and more. Now it's like, as an adult, I can really appreciate his hatred in his videos and just his abruptness. I was actually just watching some Rick Gore videos and it was just making me laugh because I was like, man, I remember when I was a kid and I used to think that, you know, sometimes Rick Gore was a little too mean and stuff, but now I'm like, I really appreciate it because, you know, the world needs more people who are just willing to tell you how it is and not sugarcoat it and not care about your feelings. I got a lot of barrel racers in my last video who were saying that I hurt their feelings. That's good. I'm actually really glad that I hurt your feelings because now maybe you guys will start making a change in the industry and reflecting inwards. If I hurt your feelings, there's a reason why. So reflect in on that, okay? Today's video I am making because I literally just went down the street to my local Target and saw, for like probably the 20th time this summer, a horse trailer with horses parked in the parking lot outside of Target. And you'll see this like at Walmart, pretty much any store or restaurant. Like there's tons of people during the summer months when they're trailering horses. They'll just literally park the trailers outside in the heat with horses in them while they go in and do their own thing. I can't even tell you, this makes me so mad. I wanted to make this video because I feel like this is so important that I just rant about this and really tell people the importance of never, ever, ever leave horses inside trailers, especially on hot days. Don't ever do that, especially tacked up, because you see a lot of Western riders, specifically like people who do rodeos and stuff, leave their horses tacked up inside trailers. So today we're going to talk about heat exhaustion. We're going to talk about horses that are overheating in trailers. We're going to talk about how to do it safely. We're going to talk about just everything that can go wrong and why it's so dangerous. So please share this message. This is important, especially because it's summer now. A lot of people are doing this shit and it just needs to stop. I'm so sick of seeing people do this and it's really dangerous. But before we get into it, you guys, I just want to say a massive thanks to Link Equestrian for sponsoring this video. As you guys know, Link Equestrian is my own personal clothing line, so head over there if you're interested in shopping anything that we have. Also, if you're interested in extra content, horse videos, etc. from me, I do post on Patreon and I post on YouTube members. So you can join us on YouTube members or Patreon. It's the same price. It's just whichever platform is easier for you to consume the content. So subscribe on either one. First things first, if you ever come across somebody who has horses sitting outside and it's more than 90 degrees and these horses are sitting in a trailer in a parking lot somewhere, call 911, okay? Call your local animal control or something because it is so unbelievably dangerous. It's the same thing, even if the windows are open, it's the same thing as leaving your dog in a hot car. You know, you see this happening all over. It's not just the US, I mean, it's really all over the world, especially during heavy competition seasons when people are regularly traveling with their horses. You'll see people that just decide, oh, well, I want to go into the store and buy things. I want to go into a restaurant and have dinner. So they'll park their vehicles out in the baking sun with horses in them. Sometimes the horses are even tacked up and they'll leave the horses there for like 30 minutes upwards of several hours. Literally just this morning, I was sitting outside a Target and I had it on my timer how long that person was inside the Target for, which I ended up calling animal control to come get the horses, because the thing is, it was 104 degrees outside. 104. You shouldn't even be traveling with horses when it's 104 degrees outside, and we're gonna get into why in just a moment, even if you have ventilation in your trailer, okay? It was not just 104 degrees outside, but it's almost always 20, 30 degrees higher inside a trailer or inside a car. And that person, even once animal control got there and were removing the horses, which were drenched in sweat, by the way, and did have signs of heat stroke, they literally were still inside. Someone had to go inside the store and go grab them. They had been inside Target for like an hour and a half. The problem is that so many equestrians think that just because they put their horse in a trailer and that, oh, the horse lives outside all the time anyway, no big deal, that the horse can't die of heat stroke. Traveling with your horse in a trailer can be dangerous if they become overheated and dehydrated. Dr. Alexandra Tracy further elaborates what you should do when traveling on hot summer days. It's very important to make sure that your horse is hydrated even before stepping foot inside a trailer. Once you get on the road, it's important to keep a careful eye on your horse. The signs of heat distress are excessive sweating, flared nostrils, increased respiratory rate. Further elaborating that as heat stress worsens, the horse would stop sweating and become depressed. Their gums will appear tacky, not moist, and turn a bright shade of pink than normal. After being pinched, a dehydrated horse's skin will not spring back. Finally, they will not want to drink water once they've reached this point of distress. Once your horse is in distress from the heat, you're going to want to cool them with a running hose, a blowing fan, and a shaded area where they can rest up and cool down. Running cool water over their legs and neck will help transfer heat from the body to the water, which aids in cooling. Be sure that clean water is available if the horse wants to drink. If the horse does not improve as they are cooled down, please contact your local veterinarian to come and examine the horse. Likely they're going to need like IV fluids and stuff to get back to where they need to be, especially if they get to such an extreme point of heat exhaustion, which really does not take as long as people think. Ideally, you would want to avoid any sort of extreme heat distress to your horse. Always avoid high heat and high humidity days over 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Travel should be done as early as possible in the morning to take advantage of cooler temperatures. The biggest thing to remember is keep moving as much as possible to create wind. Avoid routes that take you through high traffic areas that cause lots of stopping and standing. Do not stop for a full meal if your horses are on the trailer. Airflow, just so people remember, is not just opening a window in front of the horse's face. Airflow in a horse trailer is opening all the windows that the trailer has to create the most maximum airflow possible. I've seen a lot of people that only open windows in front of the horse faces. That's not going to keep your horse cool. That's not going to cool them down during hot days. All of the ventilation in the trailer needs to be open to keep the horses cold. Now, to get a little veterinarian on you guys, I want to read you possibly one of the best articles that I've ever read myself, produced by a veterinarian on what happens to horses. A horse asked to perform strenuous exercise is often pushed to the limits of his body's mechanisms to recover. In most cases, these mechanisms allow the horse to finish the exercise with no problem. Sometimes, however, the horse's ability to recover may be inadequate and will result in possible heat stroke or exhaustion. This means that more than one organ system might stop functioning properly, such as the muscles, the kidneys, the central nervous system, or clotting system. Without prompt intervention, the horse might suffer irreversible damage. When the sum of outside temperature plus the relative humidity is below 130, meaning 70 degrees Fahrenheit and 50% humidity, most horses can keep their body cool. The exception will be very muscular or fat horses. Basically saying that the larger mass the horse has, obviously, they're not going to be able to regulate their body temperature as well as a horse that's of normal size. When the sum temperature and humidity exceeds 150, which is 85 Fahrenheit with 90% humidity, it is hard for any horse to keep cool. If the humidity contributes over half of the 150, it compromises the horse's ability to sweat. When the combination of temperature and humidity exceeds 180, which is 90 degrees Fahrenheit with 90% humidity, the horse's cooling system is ineffectual, and very little cooling takes place even if the horse is sweating profusely. At this stage, Exercise can only be maintained for a short time without the animal's body temperature, especially in the muscles, rising to dangerous levels. When the horse's body temperature reached 105, the blood supply to the muscles will begin to shut down. After this occurs, the blood supply to the intestines and kidneys will also shut down. The blood supply to the brain and heart are spared until last, but severe and permanent damage may have already taken place. Now, this article goes on to talk about, the severity of heat stroke, and I really recommend that everybody goes and reads it, because this not only applies to when you're trailering a horse, which is considered exercise for the horses. You have to keep in mind, trailering is not just some easy thing for horses. They're balancing, they're sweating inside the trailer, they're having to stand up. It is considered to be a form of work and exercise for horses to be trailered. So this not just applies to outside riding, because everyone should be cautious of when they ride their horses in temperatures that are too hot, but this also applies to trailering horses. This is exactly what happens when your horse overheats, even if they're just inside a trailer, and it will, in some cases, if it gets too severe, cause irreversible damage to your horse. So, you might think that it's okay to just run into the gas station for 20 minutes, but in reality, your horses are outside cooking.